Now what's this gonna be? You know how I played it all. That nigga burning G. All by his bread. Bitch, I'm all up by my bread. All by my bread. Bitch, I'm all up by my bread. All by my bread. Now what's this gonna be?
Welcome back to your favorite channel, the PBC, Pelican Bay's Corner, where I give it to you fair and unbiased, raw and uncut. Some will like it, some ain't, man. That's just the way it's gonna be. That's the way it gotta be. That's the way it's been for the past several years. You know, some gonna like it and some ain't. It's what I always tell brothers and sisters. You know, I got some breaking news coming for you from around the world. All my people in North America, much love. All my people in South America, Africa, Europe, Asia. Big shout out to all the bulldoggers across the world. Breaking news coming from Alabama. You know, Wilcox County, where a man was arrested. And it's some key words in this, what I want y'all to listen to in this article that you're about to listen to. You know, knowingly owning a dog that's going to participate in a dog fighting venture, or has participated in a dog fighting venture, or you know, knowingly. You see, these words get tricky when it comes to this type of stuff, you know. And I always say it's a very thin line. Brothers and sisters gotta be careful out here, you know, when it comes to this particular breed, you know. And like I always say, everybody that I give you a news article on supposedly is innocent until proven guilty. A lot of times, you know, people are guilty until proven innocent in the American court of law, you know. But like I said, I'm gonna give you this article and let you look at it for yourself. 40-some dogs seized. The only problem I have with every single one of these dog arrests that I give y'all brothers from around the country, around the world, only problem I can have, or only argument that I can have with any of this stuff is a lot of times, man, the brothers aren't caught actually fighting the dog. That's why I started my channel, because I've been through the situation myself. You didn't catch me fighting my dog. You caught me with drugs. You know, this brother wasn't caught with drugs. You know, but when I went through my charges, when the first time I seen, how can you give a person dog fighting when you didn't catch him dog fighting? You know, it's all the little itty bitty things around your dogs that get your dog fighting. And I ain't talking about no treadmill, because at the end of the day, brothers, maybe 15 years down the line, they won't have to go through all this stuff. You know, and then again, maybe it get worse 15 years down the line. I don't know. But what I am saying is, it's the little things around your dogs, and little things around what you're doing that makes them say you're a dog fighter. You see, and I told y'all just a couple videos back, you know. Now, if y'all haven't heard, I'm gonna speak about this real quick before I give y'all this news article. If you haven't heard, a brother in Georgia was just arrested for animal cruelty. An animal shelter worker was just arrested for animal cruelty because he put some live puppies that were still breathing, puppies that could have been adopted out. He put them in an incinerator in Georgia. You don't know what an incinerator is? It's like a furnace, like a wood heater. You know, what they burn all the dead dogs in. But this particular time, he put live puppies in there. Can you imagine how the sounded? How the puppies was yelling and screaming for help as he walked away, putting live puppies in an incinerator? They gave him animal cruelty charges. He was arrested for animal cruelty. The animal shelter worker. This was a couple days ago. Now, my thing is, when you look at that news article, the news anchor that's reporting that, she's saying, we need to get the report before we can say actually what happened. We need to investigate more before we can say actually what happened. we need to do this before we can say actually what happened. But they don't have that same refrain of the tongue when it comes to these brothers with the pit bulls. You know, any brother, white or black, that get arrested with pit bulls, soon as they get arrested with pit bulls, before they get the report, before they get anything, they go to saying they dog fighters. Don't care about what kind of jobs they got. Don't care about who that may, how they may be hurt in the process before they even have the real information, how they may be hurt in the process. You know? But this animal shelter guy who's supposed to be looked high upon when it comes to taking care of animals, you know, the same ones that come take your animals, take your dogs from your house, they say you're not taking care of them, he take them and put them in a fucking incinerator. But that don't get front page news. That don't get front page news like, just like the man in Houston, Texas that fucked Shipley. People who don't know who Shipley is a boy dog from Houston, Texas that got put away from his family because the husband of the family was raping his ass. You know, that's who Shipley is. You know, we didn't hear nothing about Shipley over the past month and a half since that happened. 2 months. We ain't heard not one thing about Shipley since he got raped. You know? And I tell y'all, man, this system is wishy-washy. This system is one way one day and the next way the next day. Over here in Louisville, Kentucky, it's a $30,000 reward for somebody who left the husky in the dog park with the mouth all tied up and abused. $30,000 reward. But you caught that man who was sticking his penis in that dog ass in Houston and you ain't doing shit about it. News people ain't doing nothing about it. They ain't putting him in the limelight, you know. They ain't putting his name across the media. Staying hush-hush about it. See, he can keep his job after he done fucked the dog because they ain't putting it in the news media or none of that. When them brothers and sisters got caught up in Newton County, they had all of them on the news, scattered out. And I say I'm totally against dog fighting. I'm totally against dog fighting. But as a human being, sit down here in front of me today. I don't care what kind of job you got, from a doctor to a lawyer to a police officer to a fast food worker, a restaurant worker, hotel. I don't care what kind of job you got, construction job. Sit down in front of me today and tell me which one is worse, fighting a dog or having sex with a dog. Which one is worse? But you broadcast the dog fighters. You broadcast them and they make my news. But the man who stick his penis in the dog, we don't hear nothing about it. It's crazy, man. It's crazy, but I'm about to give y'all this article. You know, I hope everybody having a great day, man. Had a great day. About to start your day up if you're just going into work. Some of my brothers and sisters on the late night shift. You know, hope y'all have a great evening. I hope everybody's having a great morning. It just depends on what country or continent you're on while you're watching my show. Salute to my South African brothers. You know, my Ireland brothers and sisters. Salute to Bella UK out there, you know. But what we're about to do, we're about to get into this article. We're coming from Alabama, United States, where a brother was arrested for dog fighting. When I say the stuff that I said just a few minutes ago, I'm not saying that to try to right a brother's wrong. If you did wrong, you did wrong, you know, and you got to answer for you doing wrong if you did wrong. But what I'm saying is more emphasis put on stuff like dog fighting, and these brothers not even caught fighting dogs. Maybe he had some skinny dogs, so that'll be animal cruelty, animal abuse, you know. But because I got animal abuse and I got 20 or 30 or 40 pit bulls, you saying I'm a dog fighter. And the news don't get the proper reports before they even broadcasting that you're a dog fighter, is what I'm saying. But they got the proper reports on that man that screwed that dog. And all the news reporters from Texas ain't said one motherfucking word about it. You know? Not one word about it. Now, you can't say Pelican Bay ain't said one word about it, because I talk about all of them. The ones that they've been screwing the dogs in South Carolina, we caught a couple of them over the past 6 or 7 months. Screwing the dogs over here, screwing the dogs in Alabama. I done gave y'all news articles where men and women were screwing the dogs in Alabama and several other places across the country. So I ain't holding back. But what I'm saying is, being that I do this news, I can see the difference. You know, I can see the difference, man. So, without further ado, let's get into this dog news from Alabama, Wilcox County, where a man was arrested for dog fighting, owning a dog, knowingly, like I said, some key words in this, knowingly owning a dog for a dog fighting venture. You know where you got it from first. The PBC, Pelican Bay's Corner. Let's get into it.
A Wilcox County man is behind bars tonight, accused of knowingly possessing a dog for the purpose of having the dog participate in an animal fighting venture. Action 8's George McDonald has more on this from the West Alabama newsroom.
Sheriff Larry Colston says the arrest comes after a raid at a residence in the Lower Peachtree community following a 3-year investigation. 48-year-old Antonio Rico Rogers is facing gun and dog fighting charges following a raid at his home last week.
On July the 2nd, a search warrant was executed and a warrant was served and arrest was made on 172 Gildersleeve Road.
Chief Deputy Monette Deer says about a dozen local and federal officers conducted the raid and seized 47 pit bull dogs from the property.
It looked like they hadn't eaten anything in a while, and they was looked like they were suffering. They needed water and all, and they was in pretty bad shape. You heard it being cruel to an animal. Some of them overcome and some of them don't.
Dozens of plastic barrels that the dogs were kept in remain scattered at the property. Deer says the dogs are believed to have been used for dog fighting.
If the dog fight and they get wounded, sometimes they will kill the dog.
I thought my neighbor was a dog trainer for the community.
Reporting from Wilcox County, I'm George McDonald, Action 8 News.
Thank you, George. Rogers is behind bar in federal facility in Mobile.
Like I said, man, I hope everybody having a great day. Y'all brothers and sisters, stay safe out there, stay legal out there, and remember where you got it from first. You know, when you need that dog news, when you need that dog talk. You know, PB K9s, and I'm out.